And now, the Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Big D and Bubba, they have a show 5 days a week, but they don't get to say everything that's on their mind, so they have an extra one, and that's how we get the podcast, the podcast, the podcast. Big D and Bubba podcast, the podcast, the podcast. Big D and Bubba podcast.
Amen, say man.
What's going on?
Amen,
Project Pat.
Yeah.
Project Pat bringing it.
By the way, thank you for having on our podcast. If you love music, you need to download the Pickle Jar app. I've got a little script here. It really is cool because you can tip bands, you can tip friends who are, involved in whatever they're doing. It's a cool app. It's like the others, the competitors, except this is more geared towards artists and music and all that kind of stuff. Plus, you can support causes locally. You can watch exclusive content. They got videos. They've got pictures, things that you can't find anywhere else. And you can get it for your iPhone. You can get it for your Droid. You can get it at picklejar.com because Pickle Jar is the future, yo.
Amen, say man.
Amen, say man.
Hey, how do we know what color dinosaurs were?
Okay, I have been watching Prehistoric Planet. Have you on Apple TV?
On Apple TV. I want to say. Gosh. Do the voice. I like your voice.
Yeah. Let me. Well, we are currently watching
It's so good.
the Tyrannosaurus Rex and his offspring as they frolic on the beach.
Like that guy could die and he could do it.
I do a decent impersonation of the cadence, but he's got the actual sound of it down.
Yeah.
Well, you must have a little of the thought process.
Yeah,
to
that's
go
what he
with
does.
it.
He just stops talking in the middle of a sentence,
yeah.
and it's like so. It sounds great though.
The eggs of a robin compare slightly to the Brontosaurus.
I love that so much.
So it's good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It is so good. Like, and Stacy won't watch it because I was like, do you want to watch this with me? And she was like, no. And I was like, why? And she's like, because they're going to kill a bunch of baby dinosaurs. And I'm like, it's CGI. You know this, right? I'm like, it's all
They're
computer
gonna kill
generated.
a bunch of baby dinosaurs.
Dude, I poop you not.
I know,
Literally
I'm
within
not-
the
I'm
first
not even-
5 minutes, they killed their first baby dinosaur. I'm
course
like,
they did.
well, maybe she was right. And it's all about, it's just like those Animal Planet type
The
things.
little pterodactyl
A pterodactyl.
having very little
All
children.
right. How the color is?
No, I was just going
don't
back to the
know.
color. No, they do know because there are some, and I forget where they are, and I wish I would have been prepared for this, but they have actually found skin samples
Yeah.
and things like that have been petrified.
Yeah. So we know that they weren't neon.
Whatever.
That has been
What is messing with me, though, is seeing raptors with feathers.
feathers.
Yeah,
the feathers
like-
is weird, man.
Like, I know the new Jurassic World is coming out very soon. Like, I think next week.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm like, I keep looking at the raptors going, Blue don't got feathers.
Right.
It's weird.
It's okay. You don't need to be
I don't know
so
what we're
correct
talking
in
about.
Jurassic
Blue?
World.
I don't
Blue
know.
the raptor.
Blue the raptor.
Chris
Blue-
Pratt's raptor that he does the hand.
Y'all don't watch.
Blue.
You never saw
Blue's
I saw
Jurassic
Jurassic
girl,
Park,
man.
and
no.
then that was it. I
What?
stopped. I checked out.
Okay,
My God.
Jurassic World with Chris Pratt is good, and Blue is like the pet raptor he raised.
Yeah.
By the
Yes.
way,
Oh,
so the
okay. That's
guy
right.
who does the Bubba's doing the impression of, it was his brother who was the old man in the original Jurassic Park.
Attenborough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the other one though.
The
Okay.
Attenborough brothers.
Yeah. See, full circle.
That is kind of weird that there's that connection because he was not just the voice guy. I mean, he was a very famous actor and all that kind of stuff for years before that. So yeah, kind of cool that there's that weird tie-in.
Kuna Matata.
It's the circle of life.
What do you guys say
And here
would
comes a
be
baby dinosaur getting
the
eaten.
best 80s, 90s movie? Like, what really captures it for you guys? I'll throw some out. Goonies. Stand By
I have
Me.
never seen.
Well, Stand
All
By
of
Me is set in the
Goonies.
50s.
Yeah.
So that
but
doesn't really capture 80s for me.
she's got a point.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. You're right.
Rock and Roll High School Forever, the remake, the one with the two Corys. Really, I love that movie. I don't know why it's
Top
so
Gun.
dumb.
Top Gun was the
funny.
80s. It was that American exceptionalism. We are the best of the best, and watch us go beat up some fake Russian fighters and all that kind of stuff.
Even into the 90s, though. You got like Forrest Gump and Fargo.
Fargo is terrible.
Truman Show.
Nah, I didn't care for the Truman Show.
We live in it
Yeah.
now.
Forrest Gump was better.
Yeah, like when I go 80s, my go-to movie that a lot of people haven't seen is Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Stacey loves that.
It was the ultimate sleepover movie when I was a kid. It's Sarah Jessica Parker and Helen Hunt and Jonathan Silverman and Shannon Doherty. And it's all about a Catholic schoolgirl who just wants to be on dance TV. And it's so frothy and
bad?
effervescent. No, it's wonderful because you have these amazing child actors.
It actually is pretty good.
It's
I've seen
so
it.
good.
I've seen it half a dozen
and it's a
times.
caper because we have to sneak her out from her military dad so she can go and dance on dance TV. And she wins the heart of the bad boy with the motorcycle and a leather jacket. And it is everything that I thought my life would be. And then the 90s happened and it wasn't. So it was a shame.
Then it became my so-called life.
Ugh. Flannel everywhere.
My favorite movie ever is, well, it's probably Field of Dreams, but a close, very close second is Major League, which was in the 80s. I mean, those are both 80s movies, and I love them.
Yeah.
But I also really love Weekend at Bernie's. Oh, man.
Weekend at Bernie's 2
Weekend at
maybe
Bernie's 2 is better than Weekend at Bernie's 1. I will stand by that.
It is rare whenever a sequel is better than the original, and I do think with the new Top Gun movie, it is.
Wow.
It's arguably better than
Bold
the
claim.
original. Have you seen the new?
No.
What are you waiting on?
I
Everybody
was
else
out
in
of
America.
town. I
Oh,
had
yeah,
things
okay.
to do.
Everybody else in America has seen it, and I'm telling you, it is
Partying,
so
Bubba.
flipping great.
I know everybody has seen it, and I go. And the thing is, people are like, "No spoilers," and I go, "What? That Tom Cruise is in a plane? What are you
Yeah.
spoiling? It's fine." No, I think I'm going to go see it this weekend. A friend of mine wants to go.
Now
So I
back
said
to
we
Weekend
would.
at Bernie's 2.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Arguably
I actually had
better.
somebody. I said that once at a party, and this guy goes, "That's so stupid. Weekend at Bernie's 2 is so much dumber." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? The first movie was about a dead guy. They were pretending he's still alive. You want to talk about dumb? Oh, that wasn't dumb. But the second one where he's under a voodoo spell and he can walk even though he's dead, that's too dumb for you. You had a limit of how stupid your Jonathan Silverman movie could be. Okay, whatever.
I
That
also,
movie's so
I
great.
gotta go back to Lost Boys. That one is take out the vampire part of it, right?
Yeah.
Just the rock and roll / punk, and the fact that your parents don't know where you are, so you could hang out at the Santa Monica Pier and go get chased by vampires because
You
she
mean
don't know
Santa Clara.
but yeah. So it's so
Maggots, Michael.
quintessentially.
How's the maggots?
How's
You're
the
eating
maggots,
maggots.
Michael? Yeah, just there's so much weird that kids were given so much freedom.
Oh yeah,
And
dude.
kids hanging out at a comic book store. There's a lot going on that isn't supernatural, that is very much of its time. Shirtless guys playing saxophones.
What about Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice is pretty good too.
Did you see the sequels being made?
Yeah.
I don't
They're
like
making
that.
a sequel.
Yes.
I
They,
don't like-
they have released the posters. Winona Ryder is there. We know that Michael Keaton is back. Also, if you check IMDb right now, Johnny Depp's name has been added to the cast because, of course, it's a Tim Burton movie.
Mhm.
So will we see Johnny Depp making a return to the screen for the first time since 2018 or 2019?
I think now that the Amber Heard trial is over, he's going to be a very busy man.
Okay. Also, Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder back together. Are you kidding me right now? This is everything my little 80s heart needs.
Edward
Wait, I was about to
Scissorhands.
say, what was that? Edward Scissorhands? Were they? In
Okay,
another
no, but they
movie?
also were they were together. He had a tattoo that said Winona forever, and he had to get it edited to say Wino forever.
Is that why it says Wino?
Yes,
Wino
because it
forever.
was
I knew
Winona.
that actually. Yeah, it
I
used to
didn't
say
know
Winona.
that.
Yes.
That's
Oh
terrible.
my gosh! Imagine if Johnny and Winona get back together, and J-Lo and Ben they're moving in together. They've seen moving trucks at their house. This is everything
This
my
is the
young self wanted.
Things Carson cares so much about that I could not. I just have no room in my heart
my
to give a
gosh.
crap about.
All
Johnny
we need
Depp
now
and
is
Winona Ryder.
Britney and Justin back together, and the trifecta's complete.
I don't
Sorry,
think that's
Jessica
going to
Biel.
I'm
happen.
about to say,
I don't think
Justin is
Justin-
not leaving Jessica Biel for
Yeah.
Britney Spears craziness.
Justin
All right,
is
she's still hotter though.
What?
Britney Spears much prettier than Jessica Biel.
No. No, I don't think so.
currently.
Why am I arguing? Why do I care at all? D is completely checked out. We've lost Big D. He is
Sorry
just-
about that, sir. So
No, it's
carburetors.
Barbecue, airplanes.
Jessica Biel,
I'm able to
she
adjust.
still looks great.
I'm not saying she doesn't, but Britney is way hotter.
Okay, wait a
Oh,
minute.
Britney, yeah, but Jessica is not a train wreck.
Currently,
I mean, that's all right.
Jessica Biel is hotter than Britney Spears. I'm just gonna say.
I actually
That's my-
think I'll agree with that. She's put together. She doesn't have court orders all around her.
I'm just saying, she's a very attractive woman.
I'm not saying she isn't. Britney's hotter.
Brittany is
I
not
don't, I
hotter.
don't think so.
Brittany is not hotter.
Listen,
I mean, I see what I see on Instagram, and Brittany is not.
I'm not saying Britney's in any way ununattractive.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe it's because you're right. Maybe it's because I know
we know
Britney's
too much about
Yeah,
Brittany.
yeah.
That's the problem.
Just saying. Just saying.
Whatever. Who'd have thought Justin Timberlake would be the guy who like is still like an American treasure? Like, how did that happen? I would think that weren't
I
the
really wanna
Backstreet Boys a
I
bigger
really
deal?
want to go.
No,
That's
Yeah,
how.
that was part of
that's
it.
how it
That was
happened.
part of it.
I can't even
What was-
say it, but you know,
In a box.
In a box.
on Saturday
That's
Night
how he
Live. And
became an
all
American
the,
treasure.
And all the dancing thing that all the stuff he did on Saturday Night
Him
Live
and
that made him
Fallon.
so beloved. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the him and Janet Jackson Super Bowl? Was that
Totally
way
planned.
before?
Yeah, that was before that was like at the beginning of his solo career.
That was what, 04?
2004, yeah.
And he Tefloned that.
Oh, yeah.
Janet took all the heat.
Yeah, and then they just poured it all down on the rest of media like it was our fault.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to let this happen again, so we're going to censor radio. What? What did we do? How did we get blamed for this?
How did we get
on TV? The FCC started we're going to start, fines are going to go from $20,000 to $250,000. And we're going to give them all out to Howard Stern and a bunch of other radio stations. And we're like, how did
That had nothing to do with
How
what
is
happened
that
with
our
Justin
fault?
and Janet. And
Yeah.
that was super unfair to radio.
We
And
got
the
beat
problem is
down
at that
for that
point,
stuff.
is all these radio executives got scared because at that point, Big D always, we've had this conversation forever, and there's the greatest thing about the generals, and we talk about this over and over. In radio and broadcast, we had all these great generals who used to lead the way. And then over time, they've been retired. They're like, you need to retire. And then what happened is you have all these people who just aren't great leaders who took over. And these guys are afraid of their own shadow.
I will posit that we were young and we didn't know those people weren't as good at their job as they were. They weren't that good.
Oh, I don't know.
They might have been, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
there
We
is
were all
something-
in
for
our
sure,
early
there's something
20s.
to that, but-
And the guys who were in their 40s seemed really smart to us, and they were bullshitting you too.
Yeah, there's something
Patrick
for
just
that.
dropped
I'm sorry, but
You swore.
my bad. I'm sorry. Even my
I didn't
grandmother
say
says
the
that one
box
sometimes.
word.
Right.
I know.
And then you
Well,
just-
that's a dirtier word than mine.
I wasn't here
My
for
thing-
one Friday, and Patrick is
My thing
dropping
happens on a
bombs?
farm every day. You step in some, it happens. Okay.
Yeah, but you're right. I think, but there are a couple that I have been able to look back on now, and they still hold up more than the others.
Oh yeah.
But
I agree, and I look fondly upon those guys too. But I just think back and go, how much of that was just because we didn't know? We were
Yeah, we
kids.
didn't-
We didn't,
it didn't
know.
take-
I am
We-
looking
you
at
know.
the, and I'm going to shift gears here because this is great. Rod in the comments on YouTube, I have to take over and I have to Bubba this. He says, Carson is awesome, but would be a horrible girlfriend. I have to, I have to
Rod.
stop everything.
Wow.
Rod is his name. What?
I mean, back to Patrick swearing.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible.
Like, that's so horrible. I feel so bad.
Okay, back to the other thing
Yeah.
before the thing where I use the inappropriate word. No, I think about it. When did you start to get disenchanted with the stuff? It was in your 30s when you had finally had enough experience to go, wait a minute, they come in here with a brilliant idea, and then 6 months later they come in with a completely opposite idea.
Yes.
But those guys weren't generals.
I know those are when we started to realize
tier,
that.
Yeah, those were the second tier people, and
I understand what I'm saying is the other guys did that too. They did that when we were in our 20s too. We just didn't notice it as much
because we did notice it because there's a guy named Greg who the truth is the truth of whatever the situation is was whatever the last person told him the truth is, and he would change his truth like that, and he was not a general. He was the boss. But he wasn't a general. He was not somebody who led.
But I didn't think he was a general then.
No, exactly. We saw it. We recognized it. So we definitely recognized certain people.
Yeah, you're right. The problem you had was bosses cosplaying generals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's still going on
Because now
today.
that's what I'm thinking about. Two owners that I had who both parroted the same stupid thing that apparently they'd heard 50 years before and just kept passing down, and the data never supported it. But you believe I believed it in my 20s, and then when somebody else said it 5 years later, I went, "You're
Wait a minute.
dumb."
Yeah.
That's why I'm a bad girlfriend, because I called you dumb.
It's in every business.
Yeah, it's
industry,
true. It's
of course,
true.
whatever it is. And then they, people just. I mean, we all know some of the people who continue to get promoted, and you're like,
The climbers.
man, how? What?
Dude, how many times? Well, there's a certain radio dude that we know that has left his job. Every 3 to 4 months he quits his job.
Oh, that guy. I was thinking we were going
I was thinking the
somewhere
other
else.
guy.
Yeah.
3 to 4 months.
He's now officially out of radio finally.
Really?
Yes. After, I'm not kidding, he had 6 jobs in 18 months. And counting the first one he had for like 2 years, but if you count that one, when he left that one, he took 5 jobs in the next 18 months.
So what about the other climber? What?
Falling upwards? Yeah.
Who else? He would leave about every year, or maybe 10 months.
You're thinking of another guy.
Yeah,
I'm talking a guy we used to work
we know
with.
a lot of guys.
Yeah, we know a lot of people who do this, but now, I saw Falling Upward the other day, and I was like, oh.
I almost got a little snarky on my Facebook page with a radio person because I'd posted a picture with Jelly Roll, right, when he had come in, and all these people were commenting on it. It's my personal Facebook page where it's, hey, people from high school, but then also people we work with or radio people. And this one of the Falling Upward radio guys had commented on somebody else's comment on my page. And the dude said, "Oh, I've heard good things about Jelly Roll. He seems like a genuine guy." And this dude replies, "Yeah, you should get drunk with him." And I go, "You never comment on anything on my page. You just came on to humble brag that you and Jelly Roll drank together." And I went through so many scenarios in my head of calling him out. And then I was like, no, you know what? Just delete. And I wonder if this is how.
Power. That's power, because I can't do the delete. I write stuff.
Yeah.
And I just send.
But I wonder if this is how dudes like that fall up, is because they're so unafraid of being blatantly selfish and self-absorbed that just, sure, I'm going to comment on some random chick's picture of Jelly Roll, but I drink with him. Nope. Horrible girlfriend.
I love that. I love You're right. Boy, Rod, you are just nailing it today. I'm just saying.
So
There it
people
is.
are in the comments arguing over whether or not Britney is hotter. By the way, everybody agrees with us that Jessica is better.
Thank you.
But there's several other comments on whether
Carson
or not.
would be a great girlfriend
Yeah.
because when she finally finds someone, they will be her perfect man. So no issues. Boy, what
You
a
would
way
have to
suck up.
settle.
You
for the
have
perfect man.
you've nailed it about settles, because that's
Oh,
exactly how I
man.
feel about it.
Wow. At a social gathering, I think Carson would be up in everybody's business trying to find out as much gossip as she can.
No.
I wouldn't be up in their business.
No,
I sit in the
she
corner
lurks in
and
there.
I
That's right.
listen.
She
I
just kinda-
lurk. And guess what?
When pays close attention.
When you don't speak, people get awkward, and so they talk to you and they run out of things to say, and then that's when they start digging and give you the dirt. That's how I play it.
It's a fun game.
It is fun.
That's how I
used
know
to have-
things.
I still kind of have it, but boy, when I was younger, I had this kind of superpower where people would just tell me crap they weren't supposed to tell me all the time. These two know it benefited us greatly many times, where people would just randomly just bring things up in conversation, not realizing they probably shouldn't have said that to me.
It's usually
because
me
it's-
who's saying the things I shouldn't be
No,
saying.
it's not you. I'm talking about people in the company we used to work for.
No.
They would just randomly just drop truth bombs, and I would go, wait, what? Yeah, Never occurred
Like
to people that
HR directors
Oh, yeah.
would
Oh,
would
gosh.
vent
all
to
the time.
Patrick.
I don't know if I just had like that lovable, dumb face. Like they think, well, this guy doesn't know anything, so I'll just say it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
wait,
what?
You guys are getting paid?
Oh, that's my favorite. I had that conversation yesterday. I find out that people might be getting paid for something we've been doing for free. I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. That's our whole business right there. That's all of the media industry right there. Just wait a minute. I thought everybody was doing this for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I used to know a guy who, the radio guy, he got tired of going out and doing appearances. And so finally he was just like, well, if you want me to come out there, instead of it being $300 or whatever, he's like, it's $1,500. And he got booked, sold. They couldn't, he was doing more than he ever did.
Wow. Good for him, though.
You know, it's one of those.
He didn't want to do them. He didn't want to do them, but if they're going to make him, go out there and do it, it might as well be worth his time.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
One object is $10 more than the other. Which one's better?
Yeah.
We all deal with that. Like, except Bubba. Bubba buys the generic stuff, but I can't help it, man. I see something that's $15 for something that's $10, and I go, well, the $15 one
must be better,
yeah,
right?
Usually,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same factory. They make them at the same factory.
I don't know. So, that's why Carson is awesome, because of the stuff that we get to hear about people on the show. There you go. That's it. But he doesn't want to date you, just for the record.
Nobody does. It's
His
okay.
loss.
Who's the
His loss.
Who did you date that you regret not dating still?
Ooh.
Who do I regret?
Was it a radio person or
no,
somebody
no.
in the...
Oh, gosh, no. The couple radio people
With a
I
band?
dated are the worst. Yeah, actually, this guy, John, who was with Foreigner. I think we've actually...
John Parr?
Well, no, because John Parr wasn't in Foreigner.
Oh.
No, John, he and I, he was on the road. He had some health stuff happen. I think timing just didn't work. It really, no hard feelings. And he and I have reconnected in the last year or so. And next time I go back home, he's from Connecticut. We've talked about getting together. So we'll
Wow.
see. Yeah.
So
Good
he
dude.
lives in Connecticut right now? Is that
Yeah,
where
that's
he's-
his home base. He just
Okay.
he travels with whatever band he's with.
Would he be willing to move?
Oh, was I supposed to ask him to
I
move?
don't
no,
know.
I
don't know.
I
I mean,
really,
you didn't pry and just
I
kind of
really like. Oh no, he lives on a lake
Oh,
in Connecticut.
oh.
Are you
And the
kidding?
colors change and this
yeah,
and
and
that.
there's
yeah.
pizza and Italian food. Like, bro, I could do long weekends there. Barry Manilow has a whole song about weekend in New England. Sounds great. And that way we don't have to like see each other all the time.
See, that Carson doesn't even want like a all the time person.
And now we go back to what Rod said.
Yeah. When I first started dating Vivica, we went out, I don't know, in the first two weeks, we probably went out 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
And because, you're like,
Wow.
oh, well, I like you, and this is going well. Let's go out again. Well, what are you doing the day after tomorrow? And this is Carson's reaction. And we have another friend who is also perpetually single. And she was like, I don't go out with somebody 5 times in the first 3 months. I'm like, yeah, this is why you're single. Because you have
Yeah,
to
it
stick
is.
it
And also, I'm busy. I have other things.
I'm busy too, but you know what? You can come with
Yeah,
me
but
to
you
things.
you used to bring dates to stuff.
Yeah.
I would never do
Like
that.
what, like industry events and
Yeah.
all
Sure,
that?
why not?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the thing. That would never occur to
That's-
me to do that.
But he's also showing her, hey, this is if you're with me, this is the life you get.
Oh yeah.
No, but I
And you
think
know how I
it's-
ended up with Vivica? Because she was the one who couldn't care less.
Didn't
Like, is there
care.
wine?
Yeah, I think it's different though for guys and girls that if I showed up with a dude, people make more out of that. Whereas a guy, like, oh, you just brought a date.
Oh.
That's cool. I think women, there's more pressure for us if I brought random dude that I'm on a second date with.
Oh,
They'll
I
be
would
like, oh, how's
totally
it
be-
going?
oh.
Like,
I would have all the info by the time the night was over.
yeah,
Sure.
see. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys? Are we done with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys into? Do you guys like hot food sauces, like sriracha and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can well,
Just a little bit,
just
A little bit. I dump it.
Yeah,
Like
no.
I always
This
say
is where
bring
Bubba
me
brags about how hot he likes his food.
I do. This is where I brag about it. I dump so much hot sauce on everything.
Might want to buy some extra because the company that makes it, Hue Fong Foods, they also make garlic, chili garlic, and some other.
There's
things.
going to be another
But sriracha's
sriracha
their
shortage.
big. Yeah, they said that they are currently, due to weather conditions affecting the quality of chili peppers, we now face a more severe shortage of chili. Unfortunately, this is out of our control. Blah, 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 blah. We are unable to produce any of our products, including sriracha. Therefore, all orders submitted on or after April 19th, 2022 will be scheduled after Labor Day, September 6th, in the order it was received.
Hey, guess what? You don't hear this from Tabasco. You don't. You don't ever hear Tabasco shortages.
I checked out for a second. Somebody sent me a message.
Sriracha
has a shortage.
Yeah, they have a
you're
shortage.
right. Listen,
Yeah,
my
Tabasco
people,
is the, I mean, Old Faithful, baby. You got to go straight to Tabasco.
and when I go to restaurants and they hand me
Yeah. I always ask.
some other hot sauce,
I
that's
always
not
say,
Tabasco.
"Can I have some Tabasco, please?" And they
Yeah.
come back with like, it'll be Cholula or it'll be
no. Texas
Louisiana or Texas Pete. I'm like, no. I said Tabasco.
By the way, they make
Ask for it by
Louisiana
name.
hot sauce in my hometown as well. Okay. So it's not just that I'm being a homer because they make Tabasco in the town where I'm from. They also make
So they make-
Louisiana hot sauce there, and it's fine.
So
but it's not
Tabasco
Tabasco, I swear.
and Louisiana hot sauce are made in the same city?
Well,
Wow.
Pretty close.
Tabasco's made in
Avery
Avery
Island.
Island, which is now technically a town, but it used to be part of New Iberia, which is the town I grew up in. Louisiana hot sauce is made in New Iberia, but there might be 10 miles from each other.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's
Are-
neat.
What came first?
oh, Tabasco.
The egg.
Tabasco came. It's like the late 1800s when the.
They're on
it's-
Avery Island?
Mhm.
Avery Island.
So they Avery Island is just a salt dome coming up out of the ground, and it's surrounded by marsh. So it's an island, but it's really just surrounded by like swamp on all sides of this big salt dome. And they own the salt mines. And in the Civil War, everybody in the South lost a lot of money. Most people did, because they just lost a big war. So they were just looking for ways to
Yeah, make
make
money.
make
Live.
money, and actually, so he took a job. This guy, his name was McElhenney, and I'm going to butcher this, but I'm close. Took a job in New Orleans, which was the big city that was a few hours, probably a day's travel away back then, doing like bookkeeping or something like that. So he was working in New Orleans, and he went to a restaurant, and they actually have the passage in his. It was either in his diary or it was a letter to his wife. They have the original thing from like 1869 that he wrote that said, I asked the guy that I went to this fancy restaurant, blah, blah, blah. I asked if they had any peppers. And the owner said, if I could get fresh peppers this time of year, I could sell them for $1 a piece. And that was a fortune back then. And so you can see he goes, that sounded very interesting to me. I wonder if there's a way to preserve them. And you could just see that little note that he wrote ended up being $1 billion idea.
Yeah, the
He
sauce
went back and was
became.
like, oh, if I could turn peppers into a sauce, then people could season their food with when there's no fresh peppers to put out.
So
I
he
could make a lot of money.
So he created a new
He
product.
created a new thing. It was a completely new idea.
No one had ever
Amazing.
liquefied. And wow.
Yeah.
And it's
It's still the same recipe, right?
the original Tabasco is still the same recipe. And they have all kinds of other products.
I'm not down for the green and all those other weird
They all
ones.
have their place. Green has, let me tell you what's great is they have this raspberry chipotle, which is almost like a sweet sauce. It's like, they have a chipotle Tabasco, which is good. It's not too hot, but it's very seasoned. That raspberry stuff, I don't know what that is, but it's like magic. It's kind of sweet and it's kind of hot and it's just different. It doesn't serve the
I
same
haven't tried it,
purpose
so
as,
I will try it.
yeah, it won't work the same with the same things that regular Tabasco works with. They all have their own little thing. They also have the super hot ones that are made with like habaneros and other stuff. They're always trying new stuff. But if you ever get a chance, it is actually a fascinating tour, the factory on Avery Island. And then the guy who invented it, his son, in addition to running, his son or grandson, in addition to running the factory, decided he wanted to turn a lot of the property they owned on Avery Island into like a garden. So he created this beautiful jungle gardens, and there's like a bird sanctuary there, which is, if you've never seen it, it's just amazing. The right times of the year, there'll be like 5,000 snowy egrets in a place about, maybe 1 acre.
If you ever watch
Why?
Aerial America on the Smithsonian Channel, when they do the Louisiana episode, they focus a tremendous amount on that. and they show the egrets and the whole
And
thing.
here
And
you see the snowy
Yes.
egrets as they roost among the marshes.
and don't forget,
of Avery
Patrick had
Island.
his little Tabasco sauce wedding favors.
I did. I went with my, my new Iberia Pride. We get my little Tabasco bottle that had our names on it.
It's super cute.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. You would remember that if you had stayed for dinner. D left
was there.
before dinner.
I was there.
You were there.
Were you?
He left before dinner.
Oh no, I
but
was
he
with you.
there.
Yeah, he
Nick and I
was
were
there.
driving together. Yeah, we were there.
No,
We
no.
didn't drive
okay,
together.
you're thinking of my other wedding.
Oh,
No, this was.
You, Bubba's gone back in time.
Oh,
No, this was
yeah.
just like 2 years ago. You came with your family.
yes, I came with
Yes.
my family,
Listen, man.
and I remember it was at the little church, and yeah, I remember all that. Yeah,
I love you, man. It's your second wedding. You're glad I showed up.
That's a dude right there.
I only go to the odd ones.
Yeah, listen. I had a buddy, a guy we used to work with who'd been married like 4 times. And the rest of it was a guy who worked on a morning show. He said, yeah, they all stopped coming after my second wedding. I'm like, well, I mean,
Well, we've seen at least half of this movie before, sir.
I was on his side, though. I was like, they should go to your wedding, bro. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, but I did. I went to the wedding,
did.
and I also
You
went
showed
to
up.
the.
You came to the reception?
thing at the some hotel or whatever.
Then my bud Dominic asked if Big D would show Dominic's mom was also at the wedding. Would you show my mom your fancy, big muscle car? And the little light bulb went off and bing, this is my chance to get out.
My way.
So he took her for a spin around the block,
Yep,
then he
and
dropped
I
her
just-
back
I
off
did
and he
not
just
open my
he
door.
was already in the car.
Yeah,
They
so
were like, well,
ready.
I'm already in the car.
Belt
And-
was
All right.
was buckled. He was gone.
She had a good time, and she was like, I mean, it's a completely different feeling. That's so.
Oh,
it's,
Well,
it's
it's
You
wild.
grew up
visceral.
in
It's-
Germany in the 60s and 70s. They didn't have cars like. I mean, they have great cars in Germany too, but they didn't have the big
Oversized
muscle
and
cars.
oversized muscle cars like
Yeah,
that.
that is a purely American thing. And D's it's very loud. It's bah, 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 everywhere you go, and then it smells. That's something she probably didn't understand because she comes from diesel world. That smell of a muscle car, the fuel is just permeating your
everything.
entire body. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. A buddy of mine has kind of a modern muscle car. He's got one that's like 800 and something horses, and it's
Challenger.
unbelievably fast. Well, it's not, but it's pretty cool. Anyway,
Why are you not saying what it is?
because I don't want to get it wrong. It's like the Cadillac Blackwing. He's got the very first one, like the very first one they produced. It's unbelievable. It's crazy, stupid fast. But anyway, we were riding around in it and just kind of stoplight racing, like one light to the next. And I said, this is the problem with electric cars. I said, this feeling, this sound,
Yeah.
everything
Yep.
is the problem. I mean, I had an electric car. I drove the fastest of the fast, the sub 3 second ones. They feel slow.
You're detached.
compared to.
You just.
I mean,
there's
dude,
no soul.
There was a Mercedes that I had borrowed. Remember that one? It was like a 2005 Mercedes. Had like 500 and something
Is that
horses.
V12?
Yeah, it was a V12. That was one of the best cars I've ever driven in my life as far as feel.
Fear.
It felt
It's so
so
scary.
fast, and it was just. And the new cars now are so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember we took off in that thing, and it was like
Oh, you're like, this is awful. This
Yeah,
is great. This
you're
is
hanging
awful.
on
This is
for
great.
dear life. It's amazing. By the way, I do want to mention this. Rod brought it up, something totally different than the Carson thing. He wants to know about the Big D and Bubba Reds. How did they end the season? Because we haven't done a wrap up on that on the show.
Yeah, the whole holiday stuff got in the way. I don't know. I need to get with Coach and see how they finished up. They're headed into tournaments
I wish
about a week ago.
So
I wish our jerseys would have been made out of a different material.
Yeah.
Well,
We ordered
next year I'll just remember to ask. I didn't even bother.
We
didn't even
ordered
occur to me.
team jerseys to match the team, and we thought that would be cute. Well, the problem is they're all that dry fit material that just sucks into every curve on your body, and that's great when you're 3 and 4 years old because you don't have a whole lot of lumps. But the rest of us adults do. Like we got one for Ernest, we got one for Hardy.
Ernest said he'll put it on, and so Hardy, and I'm holding to that. I still have their jerseys
I'm
here.
actually pretty positive they will.
Well, let's do it. That's why we got them.
Hey, just let me do this just before me and Patrick. I guess Bubba some too. and a little bit of Carson. Actually, now I think about it. So there's Arch Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He is got it. He's taking. I think he's got 3 more tours. He's going to Georgia, Bama, and then finally an official tour again of Texas, University of Texas. Where does he end up? This is the number one. He's the guy for the 2023 class, and everybody wants this guy.
You watch his highlight reel in high school, and he looks like a man among boys.
Also, his last name is Manning, if that's a clue as to who his pedigree.
Yeah, he's a nephew of
springs
Peyton
from.
and Eli.
Yes, he is Cooper's child.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to give Cooper the credit for this
Say
one.
Cooper.
Cooper.
So I think this weekend
Is Hugh still following him? I see if Hugh Freeze is following him. Not Hugh Freeze, the other one. Who do we have? Lane Kiffin. I forget. I'm like I'm 8
following-
coaches
Carson doesn't
behind.
even know Ole Miss's football.
I don't
coach.
even know. He was only
He's
following. Oh no, he was only following Arch for a hot minute, trying to recruit him.
Yeah.
So, but no, he's following 97 people now. So
Yeah, I think the Texas is leading the.
I've heard that
thing.
rumor.
Oh, I
and
heard it was
that's
Georgia.
Terrible.
No, it's Texas.
Ugh.
But
That's awful.
no, it's good for him. I think it's a good move for him
I'm an LSU fan. All this is awful.
Yeah, I
You should
know.
go to LSU. What are we talking about?
because you go to Alabama, man. You're just like they're already looking at this kid for NFL and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna go to Alabama and you're just gonna be another. You're just gonna be another. Same thing at Georgia. You're just gonna be another.
He's still following Arch. He is still following him.
Okay.
But at Texas,
He's
he
not
has a
going
chance.
to Ole Miss, Carson.
Why? Why wouldn't he?
Because he's not.
Because Grandma and
not.
Grandpa went there?
So
Because that's
what?
where they started making this dynasty that is the magic of Manning football? Yes. Yes.
Oh, he's not. But
He's not going to
he's
Ole
not.
Miss,
He's
Carson.
gonna go to Texas, I think.
I'm going to go power positive thinking.
But at Texas, he can be his own like
Yeah,
Manifest.
he can be your own
He
man.
can create.
That's
He can
why
read.
Peyton went to Tennessee, because he wanted to be his own guy.
No, it was because Ole Miss was on probation.
I think
And also-
Arch goes to play for Deion Sanders.
No, not happening.
What?
Oh, here we go. I
don't-
like it.
Dion is getting some big recruits, but he ain't getting
He
Arch
getting- no,
Manning
he's not
to go
getting
there.
Arch
No, it
Manning.
ain't happening.
No.
The Arch wants that big, power conference. He wants a national title at the top level.
I bet name, image, likeness on a player like Arch,
Massive.
$2 million a year.
He'll
So
he'll be in commercial. I mean, think about who's the most marketable football players
Manning.
in the world? The Mannings.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So
it's,
I mean, my God, his dad's in those commercials, and no one knows who his dad is. No one knows, but he's still in the commercials.
yeah.
Cooper's
So-
everybody's favorite
I
man.
was going to say Cooper does the alternate broadcast of the
Yeah.
games.
I get
with-
it, but for the
with
most
Peyton
part,
and-
people watching commercials
Well, he's
that
a
aren't
guest
huge football
sometimes.
fans, they don't know who that guy. They're like, that looks like he's probably their brother because he
You're
looks
right.
a little bit like them.
You're right.
That's
And
it.
arguably the best looking Manning. He is better than the other two.
I
Not
can't
that-
really weigh in
and
on
you
that, but-
have Peyton
I do.
fixation.
Peyton is my boy, but don't get it twisted. Like I was at Ole Miss for a year when Cooper was there. I mean, I couldn't get near him because there was a sea of women, but 100% would have, made my best shot. So I was there with Eli too, but again, sea of women.
I saw Eli at
man.
a coffee shop here in town several years back. He was just sitting by himself reading the paper. I walked in.
Oh my gosh, Eli
Remember when we
reads?
came back from our USO tour, we were in the security line with Archie Manning.
Archie.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I thought Bubba, I couldn't
And he was
believe
in a
Bubba wasn't
wheelchair.
more freaked out.
Never told
Well, I've
me
seen him a
this.
bunch. I mean, I had over the
I don't
years.
think he was in a wheelchair. I
Yeah,
remember
he
him
was.
walking
He was in a
through.
wheelchair.
He was in a wheelchair.
Oh my God, Papa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Number 8.
gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the guy had no clue who he was.
Oh, Olivia is my girl though. I would love to meet Olivia,
Which
the
one? is it?
matriarch. That's Archie's
Oh,
wife.
okay.
That's
Matriarch.
our
The
Yes.
matriarch.
That is our matriarch.
Connecticut. That's who said it.
Connecticut
That's a
Ole Miss
Connecticut
people.
word.
Speaking
Well-
of Connecticut, can you show her a picture of what a pepper looks like? So she can-
This is how we season our food. Connecticut. Right here.
Anyway, y'all have a good weekend, man.
Yes. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, rate. Give us the best ratings you possibly can. Share the podcast. Do all the stuff because, there's a reason we're here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts studio. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And that is just to entertain and to have a good time. And you know what? To do more podcasts, it's very nice for us to know that people are listening. So, man, this is number 386.
Oof.
We have done 385 prior to this one. Wow.
That's a lot.
Amen. Amen. Say, man.
Say, man.
Project
Amen.
Pat, what up? Anyway, yeah, so please give us all the best ratings and the shares, and we love you.
This was the podcast, but now it's over. But that's okay, because you can listen to the regular show on the radio every day.